Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this webinar on a Friday. I know you have a busy schedule, so we really appreciate your time. Talk a little bit about the company behind this platform and introduce a platform, how this new innovation that's going to be very useful for transportation, energy, and various infrastructure related organizations. Then we'll talk a little bit about the capabilities, and then hopefully we'll show the product in demonstrate a couple of the scenarios. A little bit about the company. Mitra Innovation is a product innovation company. We specialize in innovating various technology related ideas. We incubate different ideas and bring them to the market. And we also specialize in digitizing various business process using disruptive ideas, disruptive technologies, and so on. We primarily work with entrepreneurs in UK, in US, in Asia and Asia Pac as well. So there are various products we have brought to the market. We also started working with enterprises with brilliant ideas. We have the capability to take the idea all the way to market, do the market evaluation, launch it, and so on. So we have a lot of experience around that, and the people in the organization have a lot of experience working with large enterprises like BT, Deutsche Bank, Network Rail, Orange Telco, and so on, and working with technology companies as well, startup companies, taking the technology to various places. In terms of the organization, in nearly about a year, we've been working on a product in the asset management space, and it's been a very interesting space because assets has different life cycle, different representation, and also various systems store the data in their own proprietary format. So how do you see them across? How does it work? How does it all come together? There's so many challenges you see in a corporate. And I spent a few years at Network Rail consulting in this space, and I can clearly see there are challenges. And of course, there are solutions out there and opportunities coming as well, with the cloud coming very popular. Then, of course, the BIM standard, which I'm assuming everyone aware of it. So there are so many things coming to the market, and we are seeing this potential, and we have built a very powerful platform, which is what we are going to talk about, and very excited about that. In terms of the team itself, so I'm the CEO and the co-founder of the organization, and I have a lot of experience working with big enterprises, and also experience working with technology companies. One especially, I worked in the US, and we successfully sold that to Siebel, $480 million, which is part of the Oracle eSuite space at the moment. Derek is my business partner. He has a lot of experience working for corporates more on the business process side, especially Network Rail, where we are helping them with visualizing assets in a different way, bringing a lot of technology innovations around that. And that helped us to build domain knowledge in bringing this product. Dhammika, he runs the entire operation for us, and also the Asian product innovation, where we are doing a lot of work in New Zealand and Australia and so on. And Sudaraka, who's in the webinar, and he will demo the product and so on. He's our chief architect, or I should say, he's our technology brain behind everything we do. He runs various innovation lab and so on. And especially for this product, we actually collaborate with universities and some of the partners, open source forums, to bring various technologies together. So that way we are collectively innovating. It's just not one organization bringing the product to the market, and it's not too proprietary. So the customers are not locked in. It's a very open architecture, open API. It's a very flexible capability. Now to the platform itself. BIM as a service, as the name says, it's all about taking BIM ideas, the BIM asset information, and sharing that information across the organization and also with the third-party organizations as well. So the platform has an underlying capability to bring really data integration, also called the common data environment. It uses an industry scale enterprise class integration platform called WSO2. It's a California based organization that we partnered with, and we have integrated their technology. So out of the box is enterprise scale, secure, brings the entire integration. But above that, we have built various products, especially to visualize BIM, IFC, data model. We are innovating on that using very advanced algorithm from the industry to slice and dice the information, see it visually, ability to see the multi-dimensional data, whether it's a cost or time or fault management related information. How do you bring them all together so it's operationally active, not just driving the infrastructure project, but once a project is finished and you do a handover, how do you now maintain it? How do you maintain the information? How do you bring the fault information and so on? So it brings them all together. And then, of course, in the BIM world, there is the government requirement in UK and also in Europe to be compliant by April 2016 and there onwards. So we have built a product that can be configured to monitor BIM compliance, not just BIM compliance, but also information governance related rules you may have. We can easily put them in our business logic, and the system will automatically start to monitor them and alert you and so on. So it's a pretty rich platform. Products are evolving. It's completely integratable with various systems. So it's pretty rich from that perspective. So I'm going to just stop there and pass it to Sudaraka, who will go through the key benefits of this platform, and hopefully you'll be able to demo it as well.
Thanks, Ashok. So let me just start from where Ashok stopped. We are just going to talk about several key benefits on top of BIM as a service platform. So as Ashok mentioned, what we have built a platform on top of a very sophisticated middleware platform called WSO2. So what BIM actually offers is a shared and collaborative platform. The underlying platform of BIM is something called Industry Foundation Classes, which is also known as IFC, which is coming up with a specification. An IFC file actually contains a geometry of a particular building, whether it's a horizontal construction or whether it's a vertical construction, and it has so much of information. The idea is that you can actually share this file between different parties and get it into one single place, what we call as the common data environment. So ultimately what you have is the power of information, where you have a central model to work with. So what we do basically in the platform is 6 different benefits, providing 6 different benefits, which are like share, collaborate, analyze, visualize, govern, and learn. So in terms of sharing information, we have a very sophisticated integration platform where different parties involved in a BIM project, where architects comes into play, and there are MEP engineers, and there are other engineers who are working with ventilation, air conditioning, and also there are project managers and the project owners. And all of these people who are managing the project can share information in one single file medium called the IFC. So we introduce a platform where they can actually share information. The other hand, happens is there are legacy applications, maybe the project management applications or financial applications that needs to be connected with the data that you're sharing. So our platform is actually capable of integrating these different applications to the platform via a pluggable connectors that we can actually configure from our system, and all this information comes into one place. So you can actually visualize everything in one single place. When it comes to collaborate, you can actually collaborate between different teams. The BIM actually provides a standard. We call it BIM collaboration format. It's the BCF, which is introduced by Building Smart, the same people who introduce and manage the IFC formats, the specifications. So we have the capability of collaborating information between parties through the BCF format. So the BCF is usually used for exchanging issues, change requests, propositions, and different kind of other formats. It's an XML-based format, and we have the capability in our platform to communicate BCF messages through different parties. So when it comes to analyze, what we usually do is we have a very sophisticated big data platform. So whatever the data that is being exchanged through the platforms, what we can do is we can collect them and then we can analyze them later. So ideally, we will have standard functionalities such as model checking. Usually what happens is when you actually submit an IFC model which has so many elements, geometry elements, if it comes to the platform and if it is not in the correct format that is written in the specification, we have certain ways of analyzing it through the system and then alert the users based on the findings. So this is called the standard model checking feature of the functionality. The model checker is actually introduced by the specification again from the Building Smart so that we can actually check against the specification. And also we use the analytical functionalities to identify collision detection in a building. If there are issues, for an example, if there is a staircase and there is a beam going right across due to a mistake or something like that, we should be able to identify that when the file actually comes into the platform based on the geometry identification. So things like this could be easily analyzed and notified to the users through a model called BIMalert. Visualization platform is actually our 3D model. So the IFC file which comes to the platform contains the geometrical element which ideally contains your X, Y, Z coordinates. So if the file was generated from a CAD application such as ArchiCAD or Revit application, we can actually get this file and we can regenerate the whole building model in our application so that you can actually visualize the whole 3D model. And for an example, if you have multiple projects having different teams are working on a single project, of course, with multiple teams. For an example, if you're working in a huge construction project, there could be architectural engineers who are coming up with architecture, and there are structural engineers who are working with the mechanical model or maybe the plumbing model. So they might be having their own models with different geometrical files. So we have the capability in this platform to have multiple projects under a main big project, and aggregate all these model into one single 3D model, so that you can actually switch off and switch on certain models and actually see different alignments in terms of the 3D view. So the govern and learn again are the components where you can actually checking against a certain specification where you have the compliance, and then if you have your organization set certain rules about the modeling, how the naming conventions should be, how the building elements or the components or the asset data should be named, we can actually have them in a system configured as rules. And when the files comes into the system, we can check against those things, and then you can easily alert the users and notify the users based on that. Again, learning part, we've been collecting all this data as a big data platform so that you will have historical data to analyze trends, and we have a separate module that is called BIM Stats to actually do certain kind of analytical functionalities, again provided from the system. So again, coming back, high-level set of rich features that we have from the application. We have 3D visualization. We support IFC to 2x3 specification right now. Soon enough, we are going to support IFC 4 as well. So right now, anybody who adopts a system eventually get the BIM level 2 compatibility. And also, we have the built-in functionality with our integration platform to support up to 60 BIM elements. So, as you know that 4D, 5D elements of BIM is talking about time and cost. And when you talk about 6D, you're talking about operational aspects where the facility management comes into play. So we do have the real good capability with the underlying platform that we are using to easily integrate financial systems, project management systems, and your facility management system into one single place. So you can see common data environment, as known as CDE, will be really capable with our platform. So any other application which is not BIM compatible, I mean, for an example, ArchiCAD or any other Autodesk Revit, they are capable of producing IFC files. But if there are other applications which are non-CAD applications, not capable of generating IFC compatible files, we should be able to convert them into different plugins and then extract information to our platform, which we have the capability of converting those into BIM compatible data. And our platform is very highly configurable, so we can have configuration modules where you can actually cater any kind of a scenario. And it's very flexible, it's very scalable, and it is running either in cloud or on-premise installations is possible. And the best part is the solution is offered as open source. So we have in our site, we have the listing of where the source is located. It's a GitHub account. Anybody can download the source and compile and start using it. There's no commercial license. It's offered under Apache 2.0. But of course, we have our support agreements. Whoever likes to implement the project and go ahead with it. So, excuse me. And these are like high-level view of our products of the platform. BIM 3D is the visualization and the 3D functionality of it. BIM Stats is about analytical functionality of the framework and the platform. The BIM Alert, as I mentioned, is the alerting module or the compliance module that we have built, where when you submit your IFC files, it automatically validates it against the specification and alerts the users. The BIM Connect is our integration platform where it connects to different users and different applications and different data sets which are like diversified. Right, so let me just quickly jump into a demo. So this is our login screen for the platform, and this is actually a very lightweight demo that I'm trying to do. So what happens is when we log into the application, of course this is a web-based application. I just need to say this as a key advantage, because all of the computer applications that we have is very, it's like when Windows-based applications, which are with very, very expensive license. The advantage here is that you can access our platform anywhere in the world as long as you have a web browser. So one thing is that you just saw that I logged into the system. What happens is that, let's say you have multiple parties connected to the platform. There could be different companies, like engineering company is one, and your financial provider for the project is another company, and you will have diversified, geographically in different locations. A lot of people, a lot of companies are connected to one platform. So security is going to be a key issue that we have to manage. So we use a underlying platform called from the WSO2 platform. We have a component called identity server, which actually manages our enterprise security, which has the capability of federating security between different companies, and we can actually use their own authentication system to get the users authenticated. So in terms of security, we have a very sophisticated underlying platform, but everybody can just log in to the same system. That's how we have federated the security. And the users are managed based on their user roles, and they can see different sections. Not everybody can see everything based on the rights given to the users. So what happens is when somebody actually starts a project, they have to initially create the project. We have to go to the BIM admin, and then we create the project in this screen. So we have to specify the project names, whether it's a main project, if it is a sub project under a parent project, the sub parent project will be listed here. You can actually give a project location by specifying your longitude and latitude. And if this project is a horizontal development, just like a railway project or a highway project, you can upload a shape file specifying what is your geofence, so that you can identify which location, from which location to which location the project is going to span, and you can select the project types, and then give a logo to the project and add this project to the system. So once the project is created, you can actually see the project listing here. Ideally, this is where you can actually start working on different models. So we have a way of submitting the IFC files, which are your model files. So we simply go to the check-in, and then what we do is choose your IFC file and upload it to the system. So once the file is updated, what system does is that it actually reads the whole file. It has the geometrical content, and it has all the other information needed, and it will actually create that particular file, create the model based on the particular file. So what happens is the engineers may be having different versions of files. So what they can do is simply go to the project and keep checking the files, and you can see based on this listing you will have different versions of the files checked into the project, so that you can actually go back to a previous revision and always check back. So this is one of the key things our platform provides. When you don't have trace on the changes that you did, in our platform, you can actually go back to a file that you have checked into the system a month ago, and you can set that file as the active file, and then you can visualize it. And in future, what we're trying to bring is a feature to compare between two models, so that you can identify the difference between the geometrical elements. And then when you actually connect all the information together, you should be able to actually see difference between the cost elements and different between the schedule elements, so on and so forth. So let me just quickly go to the dashboard, where the dashboard is when you actually create the project, this will actually give you all the projects which are currently listed. So what you simply need to do is whenever you want to work on a project, you just need to open this project. So it's just like opening a file in a file system. Then what you'll be working on is on that particular project. So this is good for a construction company who is working on multiple projects. You can actually, this is high-level dashboard. You can see how many number of projects you are running, how many number of buildings that you have, the number of roles, and total number of users in the platform. So what happens is when you actually open the project, you should be able to view that particular project information. So any menu item that you go from here is based on the project that you have actually opened. So this is, for an example, it's a demo project that we have created called Glasshouse project. So anything that you see here will be pertaining to that Glasshouse project. So for an example, if I just go to the BIMstat, it's a very some kind of a dummy data that we have actually listed here, which will actually show some dummy data. So you can see we can create different widgets with certain analytical information. Of course, these are like custom created based on the user's requirements. So things like project cost, the actual versus budget, schedule variance, and the project workflow, how many construction workers, how many engineers that you have. These are like in the information that we actually pick from the model itself, and then we can actually display it here. Let me go to the BIM 3D, which is our visualization platform. So you can see this glasshouse project is listed here. So I can just click on it, and you can see the project is plotting now. And this project is actually created based on the geometry of the IFC file that we have submitted to the platform. So now I can, visualize this whole model. I can zoom in, zoom out. I can see the elements inside the project, and I can actually see all the elements of this particular project. I can list them down, and this will actually show you the project structure of that particular IFC file. So it has different buildings, and inside the different buildings you will have different elements which are configured for this model. And I can identify the doors, the windows, and all that information here from the project breakdown. The other thing is that I can turn off and turn on certain elements of the project. So if I can just turn this element off, I can just completely take off this third story. So I can look through, and if I want to view it again, I can just click it back so that it will come back again. The one cool thing about this is the information window. When I click on a particular element, you can see this window comes up. So this window actually gives you the information about that particular element that I clicked. So I just clicked on a door, and this actually provides me the project names and all that, and the element information, that is a door, and all the global IDs, and also the properties pertaining to that particular door. So if the engineers had modeled this particular door with all the information that is needed, it will list based on the information that is in the model. So this is where the integration comes into play, where you have everything in one single place. We will have, if the whole thing is integrated correctly, we would have, for an example, let's say we have connected the planning system and your financial system together into this. So you would be able to see your financial planning system information here. Basically, like if that is a task of fixing this door into this particular flow, you will have when the date, what is the date that the door is going to be purchased, and when it is going to be fixed, and you, with your progress and all that, easily integrate your project management information here. At the same time, you can actually include the cost related information which is coming from your costing system, and you will have whatever the information that is needed here. The good thing is that all this information is very customizable, so that you can create the view based on your requirement. So it's a matter of our connected platform, the BIM Connect, would actually cater any kind of an integration, and it has the ability to display it here with whatever the need. If you go to maintenance, you can see we are connecting to the facility management system, and it is picking up your probably the maintenance record, and you can just show it here. And the document tab actually provides you the information, probably the documents which are connected to this. Maybe it's not relevant to a door, but imagine if you have a boiler or any other mechanical equipment placed in the building. So what you simply do is you can navigate to the building and click on that mechanical information, and it will pick all the related documents for that particular element, and you can simply download it here. So you know the nightmare that you would have when you have a situation where you need to find the supplier to get the document, get the user manual, or you need to get the operation manual. You will have a lot of problems of finding all these documents. But with a system like this and an integrated data platform, you would have simply need to log into the building model, and you need to just navigate to the particular area that you need, and then you click on it, you will have the information that is needed. The other thing is, at the time before the construction starts, engineers can have a discussion around a particular issue. So what you can do is, anybody who's reviewing this can click on an element. Maybe let's say there is an issue with this particular staircase. I just click on that staircase and I can start a discussion here. Just like a chat window, I can just simply type anything and then send it. So this complete discussion will be captured, and whoever logs in, they would be able to see this discussion, and if there's an issue, they should be able to correct it based on that. So ideally, like whenever you have an issue for a particular element, we have a place of keeping all the data, and all the discussions go on there. So we are in the process of actually doing a lot of changes to this 3D model. Some cool features are going to be out soon. We are going to actually bring a lot of analytical features into the 3D model, where you can actually extract certain class out, so that you can perform slicing and dicing on the model itself. And that's basically about 3D modeling. There's many more features like that. So another case is BIM alert. The one that I actually mentioned in the previous slide, talking about the compliance. So we have built-in compliance, which is provided by Building Smart. That is model validation version 2.0, which actually validates the BIM model based on the specification. So whenever you submit a BIM IFC file, it actually validates it. Other than that, we can actually configure our own rules. If you have a project and if you have an organization that follows certain rules, we can go to the Manage Rules section, where you can specify different customized rules. So here is a sample rule specification. We can specifically say certain rules to be built. So you can, for an example here, beam dimension ratio rule, we can just specify width to height rule ratio should be 0.6, and space between columns to beam depth ratio, we have to give a value here. So what happens is, once you give these kind of values, we are building our own set of rules where it will execute against the model that you submitted to the system. So it automatically calculates and see whether the values are correct based on the rules are given. And if there is a problem or discrepancy, what happens is it will alert the user saying that, okay, you have a problem in your model that you submitted. So that's a very, very simple demo about our platform. Let me go back to the slides. So just talk about a little integration platform. As you see in the demo, you saw a lot of ways of integrating systems. As you see, your financial systems could be integrated, your project management system, your facility management systems could be integrated. So that's the key part of our application, because you can see that here it's only the engineering parts that we have talked about, your structural MEP GIS systems, how you can actually integrate to our system. But the best part is that non-CAD based applications such as Oracle Primavera or IBM's facility management systems, we can all get this data into one platform and connected into one single environment called a common data environment. So that's the offering that we are giving from this platform. Right, so I think this brings us to the question and answer section. And if you have any questions, we can answer right now.
Thanks, Sudaraka. I think we have 3 questions. The first question is GitHub repo.
Yeah.
So I think we have the information, and we can email it to everybody after this webinar.
Yeah,
And it's
we can publish the GitHub location.
correct, and it will go into our website as well. Uh, the second question is, how do you create the rules? I think in BIM alert, we can define the rules.
Yeah, we can define the rules. One thing is now the rules is based on extended model checker feature. Now we have a base model checker which is coming from the platform itself, that is to validate the BIM model. But when you need to have different rules, you saw the BIM alert section where you can actually create different rules. But only thing is you don't actually create, there's no facility for you to go ahead and create the rule. Rules are actually created one time based on the company's standard or the culture. And what we can do is created rules, the user can actually enter the values for that, so that you can actually change the threshold of the rules, the values that has to be there. But when you actually need to create the rules, it is actually you need to configure from the back end of the system.
Thanks, Sudaraka. The next question is, can the tool be used to capture future maintenance? Example, boiler heating services. I guess the question is about when we integrate to a maintenance application in the facility maintenance side, we obviously will see what tasks are being scheduled, and we can show it by integrating to the specific asset. Future maintenance task, it depends, isn't it? Depends what capabilities exist in enterprise.
It is actually, Ashok. Ideally, what we can do is, like when you talk about future maintenance tasks, basically it's you are talking about a maintenance schedule, right? So you can let's say you have a facility management system which has a maintenance plan. So it has all your service plan for the coming couple of years. So once that is actually integrated, what happens is when you click on a particular boiler, let's say in this case if it is a boiler, you click on that boiler, from the facility management or maintenance section of our visualization, we can actually have a custom field to display when are the future maintenance records are going to be in, so that you can easily see that, okay, my maintenance is due next month, or whether it's due going to be 1 year's time or something like that. So we can, it's all about integrating data together.
The next question, will the financial integration options allow for scheduling enablement of stage payments?
Not really. Well, if I understand these questions correctly, well, we don't actually manage, although we integrate financial information to the system, that doesn't mean that we will have a way of managing payments or anything through the system. We can actually view the information as long as you see, like if it is sub-prior based payment system, how much that we need to pay them based on their schedule or whatever it is. We can actually integrate that information. I hope that answers Alan's question. There's another question coming from Joan. Can you integrate third-party APIs? Yes, certainly we do. We have the best capability of integrating third-party APIs very easily. That's our integration platform. So we use a component called API Manager, underlying platform on WSO2 components, which is a very powerful API management functionality. With that, we can easily integrate third-party APIs. Ashok, I think that's all about with the questions. that we have.
Right. Okay. Okay. Then thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate your participate in the question, and we'll follow up with an email and the GitHub link as well. If you need more information, please reply to us.